minute this morning and talk about the 2J motor and some of the differences that the 2J motors can have. Some of you know this, some of you don't. It doesn't matter if you do or don't. I get asked certain questions, and so I'm just going to take a minute and talk about it, and maybe it'll answer some of the questions that I've gotten from people that aren't super used to the 2J motor, and there's just some things they don't know. So I get asked, oh, is that the Supra has the 2J motor? And it is the Supra that has the 2J motor in it. All Mach 4 Supras have the 2JZ motor in it, but there are differences. There's the GTE or the GE. So you have your 2JZ GE, which is your naturally aspirated. They call it the NA Supra. It's not turbocharged, and it's paired with a 5-speed transmission, your W58. And then you have your Mach 4 Supra with the 2JZ GTE, which is your twin turbo Supra that is paired with the 6-speed V160 transmission. Now, Supras weren't the only cars that came with the 2J. You have your first gen IS300s, they came with the 2JZ GE VVTi version of the 2J, and then you had Aristos, which had the GTE VVTi, and that was a twin turbo but with the VVTi. So commonly on the Supras, when you look at the front of the motor, it's flat. They are not VVTi, although in 1998 they did put out a VVTi Supra motor, which is actually what's in the RX-7. But usually when you see things swapped here with the GTE and it has the VVTi gear on the front, that's actually an Aristo motor, and that's a really common swap for the first gen IS300s because they are a really great fit. They are front sump instead of rear sump, and IS300 motors are front sump as well, where Supra motors are rear sump. So my Supra I have here is the GTE version of the 2J motor. So it is the Mach 4 Supra option that was the twin turbo with the 6-speed V160 transmission. So hopefully that kind of answers some of the questions I've been getting, and you'll learn the more you're around it, but it really doesn't matter too much. People that have the GE, the 5-speed, the naturally aspirated, a lot of times they'll single turbo them. And I've been asked, are you going to put a big single turbo on this one? No, I'm not. It's the twin turbo. I'm not going to do that to it. It's turbocharged. It's fun. It is just stock. So the stock 2JZ GTE horsepower is only like 320. It's not some kind of monster. And that's another common thing that gets thought of, that, oh, Supras have like 1,000 horsepower. No, people build them to have 1,000 horsepower. And that's quite an extensive build, actually. But you can do it for sure. And we have some other things in the works that I won't talk about yet. But so that is the rundown, and I'm going to go ahead and do a little walk around of my twin turbo Supra while I'm at it. So here is the 2JZ GTE twin turbo Supra motor. I really haven't done anything under here since getting it other than an oil change. So they did some things. You've got your blow-off valve here. They did an oil relocation kit. This intake is different, but it's really clean. I mean, like, it doesn't look clean, but it is clean as far as it runs well. Not a drip of oil. Super smooth car. I did do the WiFBits carbon fiber cowl. WiFBits has some pretty cool stuff, and I like painted my wiper arms and stuff, kind of clean that up, but it definitely could use some cleaning up under here, and I am very excited to do that. I have the Powerhouse Racing billet valve covers with the Rig Boost name on there. I got those for my birthday, so I'm excited to do that. I want to pull this out and reseal it and just maintenance it really well. Do all the gaskets and seals and belts and pumps, and just, I really want this car to last a long time. It is extremely enjoyable, smooth, great highway drive. I love the V160 transmission. You've probably heard me say this before. First time driving that transmission, my favorite transmission I have ever driven. I haven't driven a T56. I hear those can be really nice. Haven't driven one of those. So we'll see when I drive one. We actually have one, just not in a car, so I can't drive it yet, but I will eventually. So, but this I'm going to keep twin turbo, and I'm going to keep the 6-speed transmission, and I'm just going to try to take good care of it. This is the original paint. It's in really good shape. This wing is a little funny. It's the Garage BB wing. When I saw pictures and videos of this when it was still over in Russia, Russia's where this was, I told myself I was going to remove the swing when it came in, but I kind of like it. It kind of grew on me. It's carbon fiber. It's interesting. I feel like it kind of stands out a little bit, and people are like, oh, it's the girl with the black Supra and the ridiculous swing. But no one really gives me too much trash. I get away with it. The interior of this car is really, really clean. I get asked about these seats pretty commonly. Often, no, that doesn't work. Often I get asked about these seats. And I have looked for these seats and I don't know what to tell you. I've actually been told that these were possibly an option in the later year JDM Mach 4 Supras that we can't get here yet. And so this was just like a factory option that you could get these seats. And this carpet also is from a later year JDM Supras. Black actually wasn't an option in the earlier years. They were either gray or tan. And usually when you see them that they're black, we've dyed them. That's why they're black. But later years, black was an option, and this is actually black. New carpet. It's super nice. And I have some new mats in here I got from Fitment. Fitment, if you want any information on them, I can get it to you. I put their mats in every single one of my cars. He does a really, really good job. He's out of Australia. And he makes mats for quite a few different cars, some different Z's and Silvias and S chassis, R chassis. But these wheels came on this car. I really like them. They're not in like perfect shape or anything, but I like them a lot. I think they fit nice. They barely clear the twin turbo brakes. So the twin turbos came with bigger brakes too than the NAs did. But all in all, really clean car. Really, really love this car. I'm excited to maintain it and just kind of pretty it up by polishing, powder coating, and putting my valve covers on there and just keeping it really, really reliable. That's my plan for this car. Keep it pretty true to what it is, a really reliable way, and just really enjoy it. Now my IS300, that will be a big single turbo, and that'll be not true to itself, but it's an IS300. So, and then we also do have another Supra that is going to be quite a reveal to do, and I'm excited about that. I got in the RX-7 and backed it up across the bay, and I'm listening, I'm hearing this really weird sound, and I was like, that sounds like fluid, like what the heck? But I'm, looking backwards, backing up, and I'm like, I stop and I hear this like super weird sound, and I look up over the hood, and where I was backing up, it had just dumped its oil, like huge quarts of oil on the ground, and a trail of it coming backwards from me backing up. My heart about stopped for a second. So I cleaned it up. But now I have to figure out why the RX-7 just dumped its oil all over the floor. Pretty sure I know what it is. Of course, instantly I'm just like, what the heck? Like, we blew a head gasket. What in the world? No. I'm pretty sure the oil relocation kit is leaking. So we're going to investigate that today and figure out if we can't get that fixed. It almost seems like this is completely loose, actually, now that I look at it. What the heck? Since I have both of these open, I'll show this to you. So this is a Supra's 2JZ GTE VVTi. This is what I'm talking about. And then this is a Supra's 2JZ GTE non-VVTi. See? So, that's that. So from what I can tell, it actually was just the oil filter. Like, that was pretty easy. I thought it was one of the hoses on the relocation kit, but looking at it, I really don't think it is. I think the oil filter literally was just loose. It wasn't tightened down like at all. So, not my fault. I did not do the oil change on this car, but I really think that's all it was. It seems like there was oil sprayed everywhere, but this was extremely loose. And all of this seems like it's got oil on it, but I think it's got oil from it spraying out of the filter. I don't think it actually came from anything else. So, that was easy. Bonk. So now that I know what the issue is, super easy, but I need to do an oil change. I need to get oil, obviously. I dumped all the oil out on the floor. So I'm gonna go over to O'Reilly's and take the opportunity to drive my Supra, because I don't get that opportunity at 10. I try not to drive it too much. So we're gonna go get some oil and a filter. So that's exciting. Back from O'Reilly's, got the oil and oil filter. Other thing I noticed when I pulled this off is that this wasn't even tight in there. So I'm gonna get some Loctite and we're gonna tighten it down and let it dry. Okay, so I started it up and everything's good, so that's really all it was. That was right. It was just that the oil filter wasn't tight. So I put that neck down in, I Loctited it, put it in, put on a new oil filter, did an oil change. I actually did a coolant change while I was at it, and yeah, now we're just gonna set it down. And I turned it on, everything runs fine, nothing's dripping. I cleaned off all the old oil spill underneath there. while I was at it, and I think we're fine now. So it's nothing major. It's one of those weird, simple things. So today's task for me is to replace the rotors and brake pads on my Supra. I got these black rotors from SP Performance, and they're like ZRC coated. I don't really know how that's gonna hold up, but they look super cool. They're slotted and drilled, and I thought, I'm just gonna try it. I needed to replace them. One of the rotors I'm pretty sure is warped. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that in the brake pads, and we'll see. We'll see how it holds up. I put some PB Blaster on here. I wouldn't put PB Blaster on my new rotors, but these are the old ones that are coming off. So I put PB Blaster soaking on here to try to get this pin out. These pins are just on the rears, not on the fronts. And then I need a 32 socket to get this off. And I need to unbolt the bolts on the back of the caliper, which I have soaking in PB Blaster also because they're very rusted. And then I'm gonna see if I can take this off without decompressing it if it's worn down enough. If not, I'm going to need to crack this and decompress it and pull it off. And then I'll just set this over on a bucket so I don't drop it and damage my brake line. Okay, so they aren't worn down enough that I can pull them off without decompressing them. So I'm gonna have to crack this and let the pressure out, close it, then see if I can pull them off. Now, I couldn't fit an impact back there to get the bolts off of the back of the caliper, and that was pretty rough. So thankfully, there's breaker bars, because there's no way a girl can get that off without a breaker bar. So the front ones just popped right off really easy. And then you slide the new ones on, but in the back, they did not pop off real easy at all. So I had to use a puller. Handy dandy little puller set. And these thread into here. And then I was able to use this and pull it off. Of course, make sure that your e-brake isn't on. Mine wasn't, it was just stuck, but it's off. all done. I took it on a little test drive to make sure that it actually stopped. It's fine. It all seems to be working good. But guess what? That black coating that I wasn't really sure how it was going to hold up didn't. Just took it right off. So if you think about ordering these black coated ones, maybe don't, because it really makes no difference whether they were black or not. I guess the only thing is that, like, so this part is still black, but it just, yeah, scrubbed it right off. So there's that. Anyway, at least it's got some new brake pads and some new rotors, and it's not wobbling, and it's stopping. And now the sun's setting, and I'm done. Done for this day. I gotta go make dinner, take a shower.